Hey everybody, Mr. the Fanboy here, back for another video. This time, this is my salute of Ring of Honor. This was supposed to be the burial of Ring of Honor. This was supposed to be several reasons Ring of Honor sucks. But unlike a certain company, WWE, Ring of Honor actually, all the problems I had with Ring of Honor, most of the problems I had with Ring of Honor were improved. Ring of Honor right now, currently, is such a phenomenal product, man. Ring of Honor is a phenomenal product. I'm going to give my history with Ring of Honor, why I didn't like Ring of Honor, what I did like about Ring of Honor, what I did like about Ring of Honor, and what I respected about Ring of Honor, and why I like Ring of Honor today. Why I like Ring of Honor today. Of course, my history of Ring of Honor actually, my first introduction to Ring of Honor actually came in 2004. It came in 2004. Now, it came in 2004 when I had this magazine called PWI Magazine, 2004. This was, in my opinion, the last time PWI Magazine was good, and um, they were talking about wrestlers from other promotions, and one of them they were talking about CM Punk and Samoa Joe, CM Punk and Samoa Joe having a classic. And I remember these two guys. I would see CM Punk here having a classic. They were also talking about AJ Styles and CM Punk having a classic. They even showed AJ Styles and CM Punk shaking hands, and I knew who AJ Styles was from TNA Wildside, and of course he had an appearance in WCW in his last days, but I didn't know who CM Punk and Joe were. Then I first discovered Ring of Honor, so that was my first introduction. My next introduction came is when I was younger. I wanted to be a professional wrestler, and I was probably one of the only people to do this. The on Heat and Velocity, the jobbers you see, or enhancement talent you see, who were actually independent wrestlers and wrestlers in WWE's developmental territories, who you see the major superstars wrestling back in the days when they wrestled jobbers instead of wrestling. It's nowadays the guys on the roster are jobbers, but this is back in the days when they wrestled actual local wrestlers who came in to job to the other guys for money. And I would see all these wrestlers. I would see all these wrestlers. One of them being Nick Mondo, who of course would become a mainstay in Ring of Honor back in 2012. Nick Mondo. I would see all these guys wrestling, and I was wondering how they secured this tryout, how they got on television, And I also believed I started to believe WWE was fake, but I started to believe WWE was fake after reading Austin and Stone Cold's book. But I believe that TNA, NWA, Wildside, which was the independent promotion I was watching at the time here in Georgia, North American Championship Wrestling. This was another independent promotion that featured a wrestler named Danny Dollar, WWE superstar Bull Buchanan, Rick Steiner, and White Lightning Tim Horner, a wrestler, in a territory independent wrestler from the 80s and 90s as their top stars. These were the only independent promotions that I heard of, besides of course the original, now defunct ECW. I used to think all of these, and the Japanese and Lucha Libre, because of the way they presented wrestling, I used to believe all of these were real. So I wanted to be a professional wrestler, and I discovered Ring of Honor, and they had a school. They had a school. They had a school in Allentown, Pennsylvania, but this school was also a promotion. This was the promotion. This is where I was introduced to not only Joe, CM Punk, Austin Aries, Roderick Strong, BJ Whitmer, Jimmy Jacobs, Jay Lethal, Nigel McGuinness. Then I watched the very badass, you can see it on here on YouTube, the awesome ROH welcome video where they would show highlights of the wrestlers as they played their music, And I thought, and then when I read about Ring of Honor on Wikipedia, when it said it was a real wrestling promotion, I actually believed it was real, actually real wrestling competition, real competition. And then seeing these guys like Austin Aries, Roderick Strong appear on TNA, it was just awesome. It was just awesome. Then of course in 2006 and 7, I started following the Ring of Honor video wires. I started following the Ring of Honor video wires, and these were good. These were good. But while the video wires were good, while the video wires were good, I wanted Ring of Honor. I wanted Ring of Honor to come. I wanted Ring of Honor to have a full-length TV deal. To have a full-length TV deal, and to have a full-length TV deal. Now I started so this was my history of Ring of Honor, and then I started hating Ring of Honor because of the fans and their lack of an actual TV deal, and their lack of actually doing anything in the 10 years they had, in the several years they had been around. TNA in the several years have been around. They first started on weekly pay-per-views. They got a show on FS6. They got two shows, Explosion and Impact. They would later do away with Explosion. They would later do away with Explosion here in America and have it exclusive to Europe. Explosion and Impact. Then of course Impact would go to Spike TV for several years, and then of course they had a video game. Even though TNA's ratings were terrible, they were still rated the best programs in the 1834 demographic. That's a huge accomplishment for TNA. So you see all these things, even though TNA hasn't done much in their several years. You see all the things TNA has, whereas Ring of Honor has not really grown an inch. And every time they took a step forward, they took one step backwards. When they finally got a TV deal, for the people who didn't get HDNet, they had it on YouTube. They had their shows on YouTube. They had their shows on YouTube, and then of course HDNet deleted all the episodes of Ring of Honor. So Ring of Honor took one step back. When they Ring of Honor, the second reason I started hating them, and this is one of the main reasons I hate them. Their fans, the annoying ones. The real Ring of Honor fans, they're actually cool. But it's these annoying ones who crap on WWE and TNA, and they pretend to be, they're these wannabe ECW Philly fans from the 90s who crapped on WCW and WWE, and they think they're them by coming on here and flaming anyone who didn't like Ring of Honor, But those are opposing ones, like Off the Rope Show said, because they don't support the shows, they don't really support the shows or really even support their own damn company, but yet they constantly brag and flame people who don't like it. The third reason is there's this really annoying wrestler who's been in TNA and Ring of Honor named Delirious, whose gimmick is he's delirious. Now, if this gimmick would have appeared in WWE and TNA, fans would crap on it. But because it was featured in Ring of Honor, it's all of a sudden good. This guy had to be the most annoying wrestler around. He would just run around and act like he's crazy. Wasn't really anything special in the ring. He was athletic, but wasn't anything special in the ring, and just one of the most annoying wrestlers of all time. Then, of course, putting Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards in the main events. In TNA, Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards are good, but in Ring of Honor, they were terrible. Another reason I couldn't stand Ring of Honor was this pure wrestling style. When I first heard about this real wrestling style, I expected actual, real professional wrestling. These were long-ass, spot-fest, filler type matches with lots of filler, with them doing a lot of WWE has ripped this off too from them, with them doing a lot of the same move, with them wrestling long times, like 20 to 40 minute matches, doing the same crap, but just extending the limit to make it seem like it's wrestling and not selling the moves. Then once again, you got fans convincing themselves that this match is more real than a WWE match, more real than a TNA match, more real than a match from any other independent promotion. Then crapping on wrestlers like Hogan, The Rock, Stone Cold, Macho Man. They think it's how is this wrestling more real than their wrestling? This wasn't pure wrestling. You want pure wrestling? Go to Europe. Go to Europe. This is the closest example to pure wrestling. Then they were wannabe pro resu. It was nothing other than having the pro resu wrestlers there. It was nothing like pro resu, the strong style you see in Japan. It was nothing like that. It was nothing like that. The only form of real actual professional wrestling was this was the precursor to MMA in Japan, was the Pancrase. We are hybrid wrestlers with Ken Shamrock, Baz Rutten, Frank Shamrock, Guy Mexer. It was a shoot fighting organization with open palm strikes and deadly martial arts kicks and technical wrestling and none of the gimmicky stuff you see in traditional professional wrestling. This was the closest form to real professional wrestling. This would later become MMA in Japan, but this was the closest form to actual real professional wrestling. But Ring of Honor wasn't it. They were a wannabe pro resu MMA promotion. They were a poor man's ECW. ECW did more in their time in their several year existence than Ring of Honor has. And the people packed that stadium to support, packed that arena to support their product. ECW, of course, they had the problems with payment, and of course TNN screwing them. TNN screwing them when they finally got there by watering down their product. And then only having their product to advertise a roller gym show, and of course the test wrestling on the network, so they can get a WWE show on there. So yeah, but ECW did way more. And when I saw how poor Ring of Honor was, it made me wish that ECW hadn't failed. It made me wish that CM Punk, Nigel McGuinness, Austin Aries, BJ Whitmer, Crazy K, Xavier, the Briscoe brothers, Jay Lethal. It made me wish all these guys showed up in ECW instead of Ring of Honor, instead of freaking Ring of Honor, and production values, especially in early Ring of Honor. That gym was just terrible. It looked so unprofessional. Then later on, where they improved the production value, where they improved the set design, but it looked like it was in someone's garage. Now it looks like an actual professional wrestling promotion. Ring of Honor had looked so unprofessional, even for an indie promotion. It looked so unprofessional. Now they look like a professional wrestling company. Come to think of it, Ring of Honor could now be considered a modern day territory. The independent promotions back in the 70s and 80s, which really weren't independent promotions, but they weren't as big as WWE, can now be considered a modern day territory promotion. But improving the set design, having something resembling. Now they were a poor man's ECW. Now they actually resemble ECW in early TNA, when TNA was in the asylum. That's what they resemble now, especially now that they got the Addiction, Lethal, AJ Styles, and those guys on the roster. Then of course, oh yes, firing good wrestlers. They fired Austin Aries. They, for some odd reason, they felt the need to keep Delirious. But they fired Austin Aries. And of course Austin Aries took this in the TNA and became great. Then they also fired another wrestler I enjoyed, was Jimmy Rave. They fired Jimmy Rave for a drug addiction, but once again they keep what's his name? Next terrible storylines. I remember one storyline was between a wrestler named Rhett Titus, who I enjoyed, who is very similar to Val Venis. He's always talking about sex and stuff like that. And what's his name? And then there was Delirious, and then there was Daisy Hayes, and there was this crappy three-person triangle, love triangle. There was this awesome female wrestler named Daisy Hayes, who I enjoyed. They had this crappy three-person triangle, and the fans even had the most awkward chant ever. You're a virgin, man. It was just stupid, man. It was just stupid. And then of course you got So, but and then fans praised that. But if that was the debut in TNA and WWE, which it actually did debut, something like that did debut in TNA, they would crap on it. They would crap on it. So, these are the reasons I didn't like about Ring of Honor. These were the reasons I didn't like Ring of Honor. Then, of course, around 2012, I started watching them again when they got Lance Storm. When they got Lance Storm back on their roster, he had an awesome match and feud with Mike Bennett. Mike Bennett, led by Maria Kulis, who is much Maria. She is much better here in Ring of Honor than she was in WWE. In WWE, she was just a comedy dumb girl type character. Here in Ring of Honor, she's an awesome heel manager. And then so that's when I really started giving them a chance. When they got Lance Storm and Rhino. Rhino was on their roster. Even Finley was briefly on their roster. That's when I really started giving them a chance. And of course, I stopped following them. I stopped following them when they decided another thing I hate was moving the website to moving this to exclusive to their website. You get to sign up for their website to watch stuff there. I prefer them to have a show on YouTube and advertise and have us buy the DVDs, which is another problem I had. Unlike other promotions like my favorite NWA Wildside and the now NWA, which is now NWA Anarchy, my favorite promotion. This wrestling promotion right here. This wrestling promotion right here, NWA Anarchy, they would have you watch, they would have their television episodes, they would have their 40-minute television episodes. They would have their 40-minute television episodes as a sample for what the action is like, and they would, if you live in Georgia, they would advertise for you to come out and support us for $10, $20 for a special show. Then on their website for their major events, their major live events like this one. This is Hostile Environment, one of their July special event with the War Games match. They would first give you a sample of it with highlights on their 40-minute television shows. Then of course they would advertise you to buy the show in its entirety on DVD. Ring of Honor up until they got this TV deal, they forced you to pay 20 something bucks for an unproven product. No real sample of the product. They forced you to pay 20 something bucks, and then with this RF deal, like I said, it just pissed me off that they haven't really done anything in their 10, 12 year existence, but now it's much better. Of course, that's now let's get back to that's all the stuff I hated about Ring of Honor. Let's get back to what I liked about Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor. Why I didn't like Ring of Honor? I respected the talent they produce. Austin Aries, Low Key, Christopher Daniels. He was on the first show. The Briscoe brothers, Jay Lethal, Homicide. Chris Hero and Claudio were actually Combat Zone Wrestling, but they came here. Samoa Joe was actually Ultimate Pro Wrestling. This was a promotion in California that produced Samoa Joe, Kazarian, John Cena, Deuce, who of course was Jimmy Snuka's son, Solo Snuka. Mike, The Miz, Mazanin, he was a manager in this promotion and a wrestler in OVW. Hayden Wright, Ryan Sakota, who briefly appeared in WWE with Tajiri and Akio and is now suing WWE, and Luther Reigns, a promotion in California called Ultimate Promotion, founded by Rick Bassman, something like that. This promotion recently closed down not too long ago, but this is where Samoa Joe is produced. He also appeared in the 01 promotion in Japan, so he was produced by this promotion. AJ Styles, who was produced by Wildside and appeared in WCW and TNA, also appeared in this promotion. So producing awesome talent like that and featuring awesome talent like that, and even now talent like Adam Cole, Adam Page, ACH, Will Ferrara, Red Dragon, another tag team. They're not in this company anymore. The Bravado Brothers. Um, so like I said, BJ Whitmer, Crazy K of Special K fame. Um, Matt Hardy's awesome work was here. Jeff Hardy, he had even though he was heckled because he was wearing WWE title, he had an awesome match with Crazy K in this promotion. So like I said, getting all this talent, then getting the Japanese wrestlers like Kenta Kobashi, the late Shinya Hashimoto, Mick Foley, Shane Douglas, so getting all the Japanese talent here and all the talent from the European independent circuit, which I like Douglas Williams, getting all of this awesome talent under one getting all this awesome talent under one roof, producing all this awesome talent and getting all this awesome talent under one roof. So like I said, I didn't like Ring of Honor, but I appreciated what they did for what's his name. But then when they went to the Sinclair Network, they improved the set design. It looks more professional, like an actual professional wrestling company. It looks like early TNA. It looks like early TNA, and it looks like ECW. It looks like ECW now. It was a poor man's ECW earlier on, but now it looks just like Extreme Championship Wrestling. Awesome wrestling, and then this time they got rid of that pure wrestling crap and got awesome technical wrestling with great characters and decent wrestling feuds. They do this better than WWE, and Ring of Honor has always said we're in the business to be the alternate to the mainstream. We're the professional wrestling company, but they do the professional wrestling, they do the storylines and even some of the entertainment stuff better than WWE, which is supposed to be an entertainment company. So, like I said, in Ring of Honor, like I said, they've been now that they're on Destination America, them and TNA have made impacts awesome. And this Ring of Honor for these past weeks has just been awesome, man. They just recently had their 199 episode. Next week will be their 200 episode. I can't wait. Ring of Honor and TNA on Destination America have made wrestling awesome. Like I said, I hope they don't try to drop one promotion. I like having both wrestling promotions. It's awesome. It's exciting. All right. And of course, Ring of Honor is so awesome. WWE is rating their talent roster right now because they can't produce talent on their own, which is another problem I have with Ring of Honor. Instead of being, in my opinion, a legit wrestling company on their own, they're pretty much the breeding ground for WWE. That's the only thing I don't like about Ring of Honor now. They're the breeding ground for WWE when they're way better than WWE, despite not having what WWE has. They're way better with a smaller budget and the roster of people they have. They're way better than WWE. Then, of course, they had the Bullet Club. AJ Styles back on the roster. AJ Styles here tearing it up. AJ Styles, I enjoy AJ Styles' TNA run with my opinion 2002 to 2006 being his best run, and 2012 and 2012 to 14 being his best run. But AJ Styles was way better in WCW, the Indies, Japan, and he even wrestled in Mexico than he is in TNA. He never drew a dime in TNA despite being built as the top TNA guy. He's the John Cena of TNA. I'm going to talk more about that in another video. I'm also disappointed that they were playing a ROH invasion of TNA angle. I would love for this roster to invade TNA. Would love for this roster to have invaded TNA, but that didn't happen for several reasons. I read about this on TNAWrestlingNews.com. But this was my salute of Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor is awesome now. It's finally worthy of its name of one of the best independent promotions of all time. All right. Doug out.